And they had sent us all this.
And now I gotta turn this.
breakdowns
This is not gonna record you. It's gonna go.
I will share on my screen, so when I share, it'll share my presentation.
Okay, very good.
Okay, so I just requested of you to allow me, yep, perfect.
Okay, should I do an introduction then?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I stapled it.
I was
Weird.
like, are you a lefty? I was like, are you
No,
lefty?
but copy machine
I was
is.
like, how did this get put together?
Yeah,
Are you,
you passed the test.
I'm like going, I can't even read it.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, don't worry
I
about it.
could
I was
flip
just
back
like,
to the front
going,
page
my
and
brain
like
is
that.
not the
Wait.
left-handed.
Donnie, if you would like to grab that, you should probably have a copy of each of those too. Have you met Donnie Fellow? He's our lead public work.
Oh, Bonnie, Ruth Clemens.
Nice to meet you, Ruth.
Have you met Rick?
Yep.
Okay.
I've met Rick.
A few times.
Rick and Ben.
Wasn't bad.
Okay.
I don't even want one of those.
He didn't talk to you enough about it.
You let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, today is September 4th. This is a sewer workshop for the council. Our guest this evening is Ruth Clemens, Aberdeen City Administrator, and Rich thank you, Director of Public Works from Aberdeen. And they've been great working partners, and so they're going to give you some history and detail where we are at this time. Okay, Ruth, it's yours.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Council, for having us this evening. Much appreciated. I'm going to share a hopefully short-ish presentation with all of you to discuss like the current state and where our cities are. And so I'm going to give a brief history. Again, I'm joined by our Public Works Director, Rick Sangder. And so, I just wanted to start off by saying that our cities have a long history together, a long history of service and partnership. So far back that we couldn't even find when we started providing water service. Here you will see a list of services that we actually provide the city of Cosmopolis. So water service being one, sewer service, it looks like it dates back to 1982. And industrial water, that's mostly from the private lines, but that is another service that we provide to customers in your city, or have provided customers in your city. We also are your emergency medical services and ambulatory services to your city as well. And in 2022, we formed a memorandum of understanding to assist your city as you were working through some controversial things. And so again, but we've gone kind of back to normal at this point when it comes to fire service, but that is something that we still assist with from time to time. We also, that along collectively with other cities as well. And then as of 2024, we have been assisting with police services. that typically runs from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. So we've been assisting with that, and I believe that Commander Steve Timmons or Andy Snodgrass, or Assistant Chief Andy Snodgrass, have come to provide reports to all of you, and I hope that you've been satisfied with that. So we have a long-standing history together as cities, and I like to think that when Cosmopolis is in a time of need, that Aberdeen steps up to the plate to assist when we can. So I think that there are some things to work through. I think there's like public perception that we have to work through, that, you know, just so that we're separating the two, we understand that. I just want to present some facts that water and sewer services are charged separately. In 2024, and I'll dive into the details a little bit more. Again, this is a recap of what we've presented before last year. In 2024, Cosmopolis accounted for a little under 6% of our wastewater treatment that we've accounted for. COSI residents are paying approximately half of what Aberdeen residents are paying according to the current contract. And the current contract is unnecessarily, we believe, to be unnecessarily complex and based on like a complicated formula. I'll go over that to the best of my ability tonight. The contract period was for 2013 to 2023, a 10-year period. It did expire at the end of 2023. How we bill your city is on an annual basis. So services in year 1 are billed in year 2, and we provide that bill on a quarterly basis. And like I had stated before, the rates that are currently charged to Cosmopolis are artificially low, and I'll explain the concept behind that, at least our understanding of the concept with the contract. In section, and this is the explanation, in section 10 of the sewer contract, this is just the highlights out of section 10, is that Cosmopolis will pay for its portion of capital expenditures. Capital expenditures that result in an increase of more than 5% of the annual bill. We have the option to work out a payment plan that doesn't exceed 5 years plus interest. And so what that means is that any kind of capital investment that the city puts into sewer, Cosmopolis is on the hook for paying your share, which according to this contract is approximately 22%. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
On capital?
Yeah.
No, it's still the same percentage. I just did the math, just to make sure it's.
It's the 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Pardon me, it's 5.9%. I think I got the 20 because I think we have a $20 million project. So my apologies, I'll correct that. So in the contract, which I did provide each of you a copy of the contract, I believe that I read in there that Cosmopolis pays 22% of the cost for any maintenance to pump station number 2. That is where I got the 22%. So those are kind of the highlights, and that is where the current rate was artificially low in planning and making it affordable for you to contribute and to pay for any kind of capital improvements or any kind of capital expenditures, meaning any improvements that we make to the plant, you would be paying your portion. Unfortunately, in this time period, we didn't have any major capital improvement plans or any plans that way. So for the last 10 years, it's because there haven't been any improvements made, you've been paying an artificially low instead of paying the same rate as Aberdeen residents. The contract details are broken down into 3 different categories, and this is how they came up with the rate. And so when we sent the bill, I believe last month, this is how we broke it down and how we were able to like itemize everything according to. And so this is how it breaks down for the 2024 annual statement, which under category A for wastewater treatment came to $219,000. Category A for capital expenditures, $406,000. there was no debt service, but then category B and C are also noted in there, and the total, it came to $640,000.
And there was debt service. I took that out
We removed the debt service.
because it seemed like a double charge. If you're charging for capital and then charging you for the interest on the capital, it seemed like, even though I read the contract, that is absolutely the way it reads, it didn't seem legit.
And-
So we should be doing.
Right, and that's not in your favor to, yeah. You are paid currently, for 2023, you've paid up to that point, and right now what we're discussing is 2024. So I think one of the questions that we've been asked is Aberdeen interested in purchasing the sewer system? There were many different things that we considered when looking at the system. We did do a review of the system. So we conducted like an informal inspection using our wastewater treatment experts that we have on staff. And we considered several factors, including but not limited to the age of the system, the potential cost for maintenance and repairs that need to be made, the current state of your infrastructure, the current number of Aberdeen employees that we currently have available to be able to assist or to work over here and to provide a service, and any resources, and what are the available resources to us currently, what the workload would look like for staff, and then also what your customer base is.
There was,
Anything else?
there was one other determining factor, and that was your interest in, basically us taking over the sewer system, but not the water system. And there is no way we could run a sewer system without the ability to shut a customer off for non-payment. And that's directly attributed to water metering. So, that's our gravity system, there's no meters on the sewer. So in order if somebody didn't pay their sewer, there's nothing we could do, they just wouldn't pay their sewer and we could never, have any kind of recourse.
In considering all of these factors, and in speaking with our council, the recommendation that we made to our council is to not purchase your system. And like Rick said, one of the major factors is that we wouldn't have the ability to collect right now because we own our water and sewer systems. Like if for non-payment, we would be able to shut people off. On top of the amount of maintenance that might be required, that our people, there's no like official report or anything like that. It was just like sight on scene like inspection of the. So just looking ahead, and one of the things that we want all of you to consider is, I don't know what your financial capabilities are at this point, but we are open to allowing repayment over the course of 5 years plus low interest based on, like, I think the contract uses like the Wall Street Journal, some sort of formula that it uses for interest. I know that you have a desire to, as well as we, to revisit and renew the contract. We have two options that we could consider, for all of you to consider, that we could work together, is to either create a new rate structure or to bill you as a commercial customer. That would bring Cosmopolis, the goal is to bring Cosmopolis customers to the appropriate rate, so that they're not being subsidized by Aberdeen customers. That would cover the monthly fixed fee plus usage. We'd also like to consider, instead of this, what we've been doing, this retroactive invoicing, we'd love to move you guys to a monthly bill. And then, again, we'd just like to create and finalize a new agreement. So would love to take questions from all of you.
So, just initially, kind of going back retrospectively, so I didn't have a chance to read the entire contract, but the way this happened is and my question is, why did it who is the onus on why this just never got brought up to, we needed to start talks because we all know, everybody knew when it was expiring. So who, I mean, you know, it's like, why did we all go through the last 4 years of the previous administration and nothing, conversations ever came up when everybody knew when it was gonna expire? Is there anything in the contract that would have avoided that says, you know, you should start talks within a year of the expiration or any of that? So does it fall just on the last administration that they just didn't do it? I mean, it's kinda, and hopefully that we don't go forward with a new contract where that is not there.
Yeah, I can answer
Yeah,
that. The
'cause
the onus
it's-
is 100% on Cosmopolis.
yeah,
We reached out before the contract was up. We tried to engage, we got nothing, so.
And, you know, it's
I mean, I'm not looking at
something could
just,
be built in the future that
Yeah.
states like, that a continuation of the contract until an agreement is
Right.
met, a new
Yeah,
contract
there
is
needs
met
to
or
be
something.
Like a union.
Right.
yeah, there needs to
Right.
be something that the city, whoever is in charge of the city at the time when the contract needs
That's
to be
pretty
done, that
normal
it should
too.
be.
That's pretty normal, but
Well, that's what
yeah,
I
it's
wondered,
not
I
in this
didn't
one.
see it in there.
Yeah, it's a strange
Yeah.
kind of contract.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of like,
it's-
yeah, and it does seem like 10 years is probably a long time to do a
Right.
contract in the first place,
Right.
because a lot can happen in 10 years.
Yes,
and it's
agreed.
better to have shorter contracts.
Right.
The previous contract was 25 years,
Oh, geez.
and then it expired in, I believe, either 2006 or 2007, and we went 7 years without a contract, just operating off the existing contract that had expired. And then that's when, in, I believe, 2012, our public works director reached out and corresponded and basically said, let's get a contractor, we're gonna sue you.
Right.
I mean, that's what it came down to.
Yeah, about, I mean, that makes sense, of course you would. I mean,
It would have been nice if they started
Yeah,
back in
I just wanna make
2013.
sure that, yeah, like I said, I didn't have a chance to read it all to see if there was a clause in there or something for that, that, you know, should have started at like 2 years, you know, before the contract ends or something like that, where there's, but I think with a shorter contract period, then that's probably a less chance of that happening.
So my understanding is that this contract, when I came into office and learned of it and was told to sign the contract and read the contract and went, it's very convoluted, it needs a lot, you know, we needed to revisit it. That this contract was signed by every administration for the last 10 years yearly, is that correct?
Yeah, it was a negotiated contract back
Yeah.
in 13.
It's the same contract, but they
It's the same
just signed
contract.
it every year.
And that's because what we sent you was an annual update if the rate was
Yeah.
gonna change.
Oh,
Right.
So you got a
right.
letter saying, whatever our rate changed, that's the change that was given to Cosmopolis System.
So, and what council member Darcy is saying, you know, here we are in this situation, and you got, honestly, Aberdeen has been an amazing partner in so many aspects, really working with us. And it would have been nice, in hindsight, if the previous administration had really revisited this a few
At
times.
the very least, started cut talks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so.
How's that?
Yeah, so moving
We are.
forward, I guess, what do we have? We have 640,000 here for 2024, and then obviously 25. So, but we're just focusing on 24 today. So we're doing,
Yeah,
all right?
yeah, that's what we have today.
I
Have
think
you-
our preference would be, and I hope I'm not misspeaking, what me and Rich have spoken before, would be to bring you current, and whatever it is that you're behind, put that whole thing on some kind of payment plan, so you're starting out fresh.
Yes.
I think that's was our intent, it's not punitive, it's trying to make it so it can be successful, but it's a lot of money, I get it.
Yeah, I saw where you were mentioning 5 years for repayment of that.
Yeah, no more than 5.
So
No more
what
Our
than
preference, yeah.
so what does the commercial part look like as far as all that? Yeah.
You want me?
Yeah.
So the commercial rate is a rate we already have in our ordinance. And basically, it's one customer and they get a commercial rate and they pay by the gallon. And we looked at that for putting Kazi on a commercial rate, because those are the tools we have. Either we can renegotiate a new contract, or we can use our existing ordinance. And it is, it's substantial. And there's pros and cons, because what Cosmopolis has right now is an I&I problem. And you guys know what I&I is?
Yes.
Infiltration inflow. So it's basically stormwater in your sewer system, and your flows go up by about 4 times when it rains on an annual basis. So if you were on the wholesale commercial rate, under normal flows with no I&I, your annual bill would be about $330,000. That's it. But the amount of I&I you have, it's about $700,000 for treating stormwater. That's in your system, that's coming to us. And what that does, it seems like it'd make it easier, because now it's diluting it and making it easier to treat. That's not how it works. So we get a more dilute influent, but we have to test it when it comes in the door, and we still have to have a certain removal percentage of now that diluted influent. It's much harder to treat when it's dilute. So if it came in more concentrate, we could really streamline the process and get to our removal percentages much easiher.
So you're saying that's over twice what it usually is? You said it was like 400,000?
During the winter,
Yeah,
it's higher.
it's about, you're paying about twice as, under the wholesale, you'd be paying about twice as much for stormwater as you were for sewer, going through our treatment plant. This is the calculation here, based on the 24 rates.
Yeah, perfect, that's what I
Yeah.
was.
Ruth, do you have that? I remember in one of our meetings, we talked about this and you brought it up on a screen and we had showed it in the past. Do you have that on the computer to show that I&I and the difference in the month and how it varied? And I thought that visual was really helpful.
So is there anything to alleviate the stormwater situation? Because, I mean, we have drained, I mean, it's kind of like they're there.
Well, that was one of the reasons why it's scary for us to take over your system, right? Because if we were to take over your system, we'd only be able to bill what we bill our own citizens, $75 a month.
Right.
But now what we've done is we've bought in your I&I problem.
Right.
We've bought in, 3 times the flow of what we're actually able to treat it for that amount of money. So, and you're not the Lone Ranger. We have the same issues. We've had huge I&I issues, but we have a project going right now, $1.2 million to address I&I. We've had ongoing over the last 5 years, we've had I&I reduction programs. We've bought flow meters, we're chasing down. The problem is it used to be a combined sewer stormwater. So, and then when they separated, those systems still were connected. Sewer just used to run the river. And then when they separated them out and pulled that waste stream out to send to a treatment plant, there's still interconnections. You can't see them, they're underground, connecting between manholes. There might be old concrete pipe, used to go in with rubber gaskets. Well, once it gets 50, 60 years old, those rubber gaskets erode and we have a really high groundwater table and the water gets in. It's just infiltration into the ground. There's a lot of rehabilitation and believe me, we're dealing with the same problems. Not on the same scale, but the same problem.
Are you getting anything extra from like Cosmo that's impacting anything there?
We talked to one of your employees, Tom. Tom, was it Tom?
Yes, I think it's.
Tom was convinced that there was something coming from Cosmo, but they'd never done anything about it. So I think when we met with Stephen Dunk, I think one of the things that Ronnie was gonna do, we're gonna plug that line from Cosmo to see if it,
See if it changes in the meter?
and I don't know where that if that's happened yet, or if we're waiting for the meeting with Steve, or.
I'm just curious if there is something, if it's adding to the,
It very well could
to
be.
the stormwater situation.
We can't get on
The
site
amount
to
of
find
gallons
out.
running.
So one of
we have
the-
to pay for it.
So when we had the meeting with Stephen Dunk, who is the Community Engagement Specialist with the Department of Congress. He is working with Cosmopolis. We are setting up a monthly meeting with a tech team that is working with Donnie. Do you recall Lauren's name? Lauren Stevenson too, who is going to be working with Donnie. And do you want to speak to that, Donnie? That's okay.
We kind of, when he was here that day, we kind of investigated the sewer system that we thought was coming from Cosmo. And nearest we could tell, there wasn't hardly anything flowing through it. But we're still getting a flow on the meter from Cosmo
Right.
down on the,
You're probably not gonna find it now, right? Because you can look at your flows in the past, and back in 2024. In September, you were a baseline flow of 2.17.
Right.
That's basically what your city gives out without I&I.
Right.
And you can see, in January, it goes up to 11.7. So when it starts raining is when it's gonna show up. Right now, there is no groundwater getting in, it's, you get your base flow.
I know
Because there's no
that
groundwater.
tech team that we are going to be meeting and working with once a month, and we'll go back to our sewer negotiation committee. He's pulling experts from experts to really look at funding, at how we can have a better system over here and grants to improve some of these issues that we've had that haven't been addressed. So, that's exciting, but it doesn't take care of the issue at hand right now that we need to, and you're right.
And I think unfortunately, you're gonna find out the same thing as we have, that even though we're a poor community, we're still above the threshold to qualify for forgivable grants.
Yeah.
And they'll loan you money all day long, at really low interest rates, but you still have to pay it back.
Right.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah, and the problem is we don't have the money for matching grants or any other kind of funds, so.
I have a couple of questions, and just on the percentages. So as far as like the 22% on that pump station, is that because that's our portion of what goes through that pump station? Because it's
Yep.
more geared to
Absolutely.
us?
We measure the amount coming to the city, we measure the amount leaving the pump station.
Okay,
And
and
the
that's
difference is, yeah.
for compared to what's
So-
yours?
Right, so we
And
know
Southside or
what's
whatever.
ours, and
Right.
also Stafford Creek goes through that pump station as well, so it's Stafford Creek and the south side and
Okay.
Cosmo.
Okay, and then the capital expenditures, what's that percentage? Is that still the 5.92?
Yeah.
Is what our, so that
Yeah, so if you,
400 and some is 5.92%?
yeah, if you multiply it, 0.059 times the, what is it, $7 million or?
Okay, I didn't see
Yeah.
the amount, the
Yeah.
7 million, but I just
Yeah.
wanted
And,
to, just
I
in my
mean-
own brain of, that we're apples for apples of
Yep.
what our percentages are on.
It's 6.86 was the amount of our capital expenditures.
Okay,
the-
and then the 5.9 to whatever, and that's
The
that
bad news
amount,
is,
okay.
we're spending a lot of money,
No,
right, so.
but if
in
that's our
20
percentage, that's our percentage, and that's the best way for us to see what,
In
what
23,
is
we spent 6.8, in 24. In 25, so far this year, we're over 11. We're gonna be close to $18 million, which is 6% under the
Yeah.
old contract,
yeah,
6%.
that's a lot.
And
3
then
million.
next year, it's gonna be
No,
closer to
3
20 million.
Yeah,
I mean, so you can see, that right there is about $3 million, Cosby's share,
And
based on
that-
that old
and that's
contract.
the
And that's
treatment
based on
plant
the old
improvements?
That's based on the old contract. Now, if you were to consider going to the commercial rate, it will be, it will be more. Yeah, it will be more, but any capital improvements that we make will be built into the
Can
rate.
you do a projection of what expenditures are coming And
We
what
have
we,
we have a CIP, so we
So
know
that
what we're
we-
spending for the next 6 years.
so we know what the difference is between us doing a commercial or us coming up to the same rate as
It's,
your
you guys,
citizens?
the commercial is the best option for you every day of the week if you had your INI fixed.
Right, but
That
it's
is-
not.
But it's not.
So
So-
the other thing I have is that you want us to come up to what your citizens are, but you have to take care of your citizens' their storm lines and all that. You don't have to take care of that for us. And if you do come over to help us, I believe we get billed for that.
No.
I will interject, they have been very generous in not charging us.
Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, that's, so,
I'll use an analogy. Or, no.
no, and that's fine. I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
just,
no,
you know,
that's
it's
fine, that's fine.
city to city. If you're gonna come over, I mean, when it's reciprocity, then that's one thing, but you're coming over to help us. I just figured that there would be a bill that was given for that.
Yeah, and, in
which
the
we should-
original contract, the original 25-year contract, it addressed conveyance and the cost, and they ironed it out into sections of pipe that the main interceptor, the Station 2, the water crossing, the State Street line, the big 48 main line. And the next concrete, they kind of made it an O&M charge in that contract. And I mean, you got Quiggs, who is our next door neighbor at the plant, their line from their business to our plant is less than 100 feet long. There's no conveyance, and they get paid, they pay the same bill as somebody that is on the border with Cosmopolis. I mean, that's just
Makes sense.
kinda, it's, it's hard to say, well, you only have 100 feet of
so
line,
you
and you
only
have
get,
2 miles, so we're gonna
Yeah.
charge you, and that's,
that makes sense, and that's why I'm
No, I-
asking sewer and water is not my forte
that
of
was a good question.
business.
Have you looked at a wholesale rate for Cosmopolis?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
looked at, that's why I gave you
Yeah.
this bill, which was much cheaper.
Yes.
The wholesale rate for 2024, based on 2024 rates, was about $1 million. $1,015,942.12.
Could you say that
And
again?
that's just rough numbers based, it was, just call it
$1 million.
1.015 million. $1 million.
And that's wholesale.
And the wholesale rate, again, if you didn't have the INI, it would be 325,000. So you're looking at $675,000 worth of INI, paying for stormwater to be treated at a plant that we don't want it, you don't wanna send it to us. But it's harder to find than you would imagine.
I imagine it is hard.
But that, for the sake of this conversation, that's like a long-term strategy that
Right.
your city is going to have to sort out.
Yeah.
And I
Um,
think
Yeah, it
we're
needs to be
working
done.
toward that now.
right, but that's a long-term
Yeah,
project
it's
for the time
long-term.
being, and that could be a years-long project.
Yes.
We've been working on ours for 20 years,
Oh, yeah.
and we've found a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll give you an example of what we have, when it starts raining and there's a high tide, it's like a switch, it goes from 3 million gallons a day to 10 million gallons a day within 15 minutes. It's pouring in from the river someplace, anytime there's a surcharge, and we cannot find it. And we've looked for years, we have these very expensive float-hour meters we have them in our catch basins and our manholes to see where the water's raising the fastest to try and trace it down. We're checking salinity in the manholes to see if we can find where there's salt water coming into our stormwater system so that we can try and trace it. I mean, the guys are great, they're doing their best. I know they're making efforts, and we find them, we just haven't found the big one. And the big one could only be an 8-inch pipe to the river. That's it, an 8-inch pipe. You could have one 8-inch pipe at the river that is creating all your problems. It's finding it.
So if we went to the rate, is the rate the same as your citizens would be in lieu of doing the commercial rate, or
Okay,
is that
that's a loaded question.
No, I'm not, I don't mean it that way.
I know, I mean, it's just, it's hard for me to answer. The way this bill was set up this bill was set up based on the contract that was
The
in
old
place for
contract.
10 years. And it came out to be cheapest because you're not, the capital
capital.
improvement is not kicking in yet. It is a little bit, but it's not like it will be in the next 2 years. The commercial rate, that's on our ordinance right now. That's what
Right.
we have in place. That's what we charge like
For going forward or whatever.
like LeMay's or someplace like that, where that's gonna give us a constant discharge wholesale rate.
So basically, moving forward, we're looking at two things. One, settling the balance,
Yes.
and then coming up with a new contract. So the two separate entities, right? So it is a conversation around what do we do with the debt that we owe, and figure out what it is we're gonna do with that. And then the contract now, is there any template or anything that we're looking at? Is using some of this and rejiggering it, or to go move forward? Or
We
it's-
can draft
is
it
that-
up.
Cause I'd like to see maybe like a template of what a new contract would look like moving forward, that's got the numbers, updated numbers and everything.
Right.
And with your capital improvements that you guys do know that you're having to come up with, right? I mean, you have like a 10-year plan or something, or probably even less than that. It's probably more like an every year plan.
But so if we were to go off of a contract that like it currently exists,
Right,
it would be like the capital improvement. So we'd have to work
Right.
the numbers to see
Yeah.
like if the capital improvement portion would make it higher.
right, That way
Or
we can
higher than
see.
a commercial
right.
rate. So that's kind of,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we're basically charging you like one.
Oh, right, exactly,
And the commercial rate would be cheaper.
yeah,
Yeah,
It'd be cheaper, because what you have is you have about $7 million of capital in
Right.
'24, about 20 million in '25, and 20 million in '26.
right,
20 million ties back to about if
yeah.
7 million is 400,000, then triple that's gonna be about $1.1 million, right? So you're looking at $1.1 million for '25 and $1.1 million for '26, and now our capital improvements are done for a period of time. Now it drops back down to that base rate, right? I don't know.
so I guess there's like a short-term
Right.
strategy in both of these and a
Yeah.
long-term strategy for consideration. So,
Right, yeah.
we can draft up what both of those
It would
could
look,
look
yeah, it
like.
would be helpful to see
Right.
what they look like for a comparison, because then the numbers are there and we can
Right.
actually see real time, as opposed to this is an aged
Yeah.
deal. And, yeah, that way, we're able, because obviously what we owe you is, that's fairly simplistic, it seems to me, that we just, figure out the loan and just start doing that.
Right.
But the contract seems to be, it's gonna be the more, intensive one, and
I don't
figure
know
out
how
which
much
way to
effort
go.
has been put into finding an INI in Cosmos. If there hasn't been any effort, there might be some low-hanging fruit there. And in my opinion, this tech team, you talk to Steve and see if you can get some money to go out and do some INI investigation.
And that was a discussion we
Because
had with
our
Lauren
$1
and
million
Stephen.
That's a grant.
And that was the first thing that they did say, Rick, that it was a really good meeting, and I know this is they'll be working on it like you are when I'm gone, and they should have, but as you said, here we are today. And so I think that's the goal, to see if we can find something like what you're saying, because it really hasn't been addressed. And then if we can come back and look at this and negotiate and move forward, I mean, we can't operate like how things operated in the past.
I've driven around your town when it was raining, and you were looking for INI. And one thing I did notice is that it's a little different than Aberdeen, is there's not as much water in the yards,
Yeah.
okay? You're just as flat as we are. You have the same soils as we do. So that water's gotta be going someplace. And it's going in the sewer, I would imagine, and that could be some open jointed pipes where the gaskets are gone, or breaks, or collapse. And it could also be people taking their sewer caps off or drilling holes in their sewer lines to de-water their yards. We had a program where we put in 500 sump pumps on the city's dime to keep water out of this. That was part of our I&I program, to put them in their basements, to de-water their basements, because they were going into the sanitary system and flooding us out.
As long as they don't put the hose from the sump pump
Right, back into.
back into the sewer line, because I was guilty of
And that's why
that
we
25, 30 years ago.
hard lined them to the curb. So you drive around Avenue
Oh, okay.
and you'll see a little pipe coming out at the curb line and it'll be spewing water.
Thank you.
That was water that used to go into the sanitary system and now goes to the curb and goes in the catch basins.
Yeah, there's a few of those around
I
here.
have one more question in regards to that commercial rate and stuff. If, going forward, if we do the commercial rate, does that eliminate the capital expenditures and stuff and the percentages
Yes, it would be
towards
built
that?
into your rate, yes. And that's a commercial rate that.
If
Okay,
you charge
so
them,
that it
if
won't
you
be
charge
all
them our
broken
commercial
down.
rate, there's no capital expenditure in that
Okay.
commercial rate.
Because it's commercial, yeah.
It's just,
ship off the-
we're charging you the same as we
Right.
charge any customer and
Okay.
Right.
and
So it'd be a
everything.
more.
But in a roundabout way, it is built in because
Right.
that's how we determine
Exactly.
rates.
But it's
Right,
more of a
because
solid,
every-
it's more of a
It's a-
stance.
Every year. it
It's more of a
will-
solid number as
we
opposed to
relook that.
fluctuating.
So
Yeah, it
when you
eliminates
say,
the
Yeah.
fluctuation.
Yeah.
when you say you wouldn't charge the capital expenditures, and I didn't sign a contract, so in my mind, we don't have a contract, because it was so convoluted and,
Right.
It really is not that bad. It's not, it's very straightforward. And if an engineer definitely wrote it up,
Right.
but a commercial rate is, we take your flows and we multiply it times the amount per cubic foot and send you a bill.
Right.
That's all it is. There's no,
Right,
doesn't matter what our costs are.
right.
Our costs, we build our rates based on what our costs are.
This
So,
we would get hit with
right,
yeah.
the millions of,
right, and I
You're
guess
going
that's
on our
what I'm
percentage.
saying. The ball rolled down to this administration, this council. When we look at the 2024 and we're looking at capital expenditures, if we agree to do this with a commercial rate, would we be able to look at that capital expenditure in this 2024 calculation being less?
I think that's a gift to public funds,
Yeah, no.
but.
Yeah. That's
The
it.
commercial rate is the commercial rate.
Right.
It's the rate that's set, so, all commercial customers would be.
Yeah, the fact
Oh,
that
I
we
see.
don't have a contract, I think we can make that leap that you had this contract and we're going off the same contract. We're gonna extend it even though it doesn't say to extend, or, that's why she put either renegotiate a contract for moving forward or the commercial rate. We sent you the bill for 24 because, and when I saw the number, I was like, oh, this is not gonna be good.
yeah, but if we were
I
at the
know.
commercial rate on this,
Yes.
we would be over $1 million
Yes.
or thereabouts, close to it.
Okay.
So
Right.
this is by far right now, even with the capital expenditures, and trying to figure out going forward if it's best to do the commercial.
Yeah, and I think also looking at moving forward, like having just doing this like on a yearly basis or even maybe a couple year contract, because I think there's gonna be a lot of things changing, and I think it might be easier to not have a long extended contract, as opposed to trying to keep the finances a little more tight and knowing exactly where we're at from year to year, and then if the next administration changes, then, it falls on them to continue on talks, and fulfilling the contract, and it doesn't get like forgotten. Kind of, so to speak, yeah, so,
I'd say perhaps no longer than 4 years.
yeah.
Well, and I
yeah,
think that's too long.
I would
think
say,
every 2 years.
I would say
maybe.
even
years would be
just, I think presently I'm more comfortable
That's why I
with
say no
trying to
longer.
do a year and then get through that year and go on and say, well, okay, that last year worked good, we'll just do the
Yeah.
same thing next year.
But I hate
Yeah.
that, because I am way too busy and trying to negotiate a contract.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
There could be
if, I would
addendums.
doubt that there would be, at least, there's.
Yeah,
So-
I think the city's gonna want some assurances moving forward that, and I'll just give an example. I don't think the city's gonna be interested in going commercial rate for 2 years until we're done with our capital projects, and then going back to the rate where it's less, because there's no capital projects, where we already spent the money
Yeah,
and you haven't addressed the I&I.
no,
The I&I, I got no problem if you do commercial rate and you don't address your I&I, because you're paying for every gallon. But the other way, that's the,
So,
but I'm gone in 2.5 years, so.
well, I am too. So Rick, what would you, I mean, with your background and everything, what do you see, you know, talking to these council members and, you know, what would be a recommendation for
Linda, I would
timing?
love to help, but that is way out of my depth, and I cannot advise
yeah,
Cosmopolis City Council on.
yeah,
We're here to try and give you as much information as we can, and it's a tough situation, we get it. But I can't tell you guys what to do.
And I appreciate that. You've been, as I said, amazing partners, and we appreciate you being here and answering questions and,
so as far as did you guys so when you guys came and did the look at all of our sewer and everything, is there anything that like stood out that we need to like, besides the seepage?
It's not in as bad a shape as we thought it was gonna
Right,
be. You have a lot of PVC line, which is still good, still rubber gasked, not pulling in I&I. Your pump stations are antiquated, need to be updated. Your main pump from your holding station to us, you only have one pump. You're living on a wing and a prayer, right?
Yeah.
Down there, you got the second one going, or is still only one?
It's, there's only one running.
Yeah.
But the other one's on, it's set to kick on if it needs
Okay,
to.
so when we went down there, there was an issue with, well, what
Standby
happens if
mode.
it fails? Well, nobody flush your toilet.
yeah,
So you got some pump stations that need
Right.
some work. And that main line that crosses, is it Miller Slough there? It goes over the RV park and comes back, because it goes from the RV park to the pump station, it comes back to your main station, then goes to us. They thought there was probably some I&I in there, in that system, because it kind of goes back behind the Lions Club there, and there's some funky stuff going on there. We brought our TV van over, and we spent a couple weeks televising lines. Happy to share those with you. It's pretty boring stuff. It's dry weather, so you're not gonna see a lot. But then when there's a lot of water, you don't see anything because it's completely underwater, so it's,
I think,
We did get a couple rainy days when they were over here.
right. And I know that in a conversation with Stephen this week, that he had asked to reach out to you to get that footage. And Warren and Donnie were going to be doing some other, you know, take video or whatever.
just reach out to Brian Montour,
Okay,
or come to our meeting on Monday, and we can facilitate it there.
Yeah, I think he also sent both of you an invite to the upcoming meeting
Yeah,
that they'll
I won't
have,
be able to make that one. I've got another training.
but we'll get that.
so I know we've addressed 2024, so what about 2025? What do we do with that? Is
I would
that,
like to get you up to, 2024 will be the repayment
right,
plan, but then 2025, I would like to get that paid,
yeah,
paid in full if possible.
and what is that as of
That
right
number,
now,
I
do
mean,
you
if
have
we're
it?
using the current
Correct,
contract,
so it'd be
yeah.
the same, it'd be the same.
Well, we would have to look at that to
Or
what it is
Pretty close or a
right
little
now.
over.
Yeah,
Okay, somewhere there.
that's our goal, is to just,
And we're not,
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with you, paying in the reals.
right,
But
that's not.
Staying
Tara,
current is what we need.
has stated a number of times that it's confusing, and doesn't understand why Cosby's paying part of the capital, and, and there is an argument there. Full, transparency, there's an argument, because if we put 100 million into our plant, we get $100 million worth of value at our plant. And if we charge you 6% of that, you're putting $6 million into the plant and you get nothing. You get no equity, you get no benefit, you just are paying money to help us. So I tried to figure out where that came from. And it came from the original agreement the 25-year agreement when we initially took on Cosmopolis, I guess when maybe your plant down here failed or was out of compliance or what. And that's where that came from. It's very clear about the language about Causey paying a portion of the upgrades at the treatment plant. I mean, that was back in '82. I was still in high school, so.
You and me both.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I view it is that with any kind of capital improvements, those are built into the rate. That's just something that's taken into consideration into the creation of the rate. So, that's a kind of an asset management, like we would take into account all the, the life cycle of any kind of asset and build that into a rate possibly if we could, so.
Alright,
Yeah, our hope
We
was
got
to try and
that.
figure out a way that we could buy the system and then charge your citizens the same thing we're charging our citizens.
That was my,
So that the rates would be equal, but we came down to it, then we're buying that I problem, right? And we don't know how bad it is or how good it is, but it's a unknown. And that we had no ability to shut somebody off for non-payment. We would have a system, and once we worked that out, nobody'd pay their bill.
oh yeah, that makes sense.
And there is an upfront investment that we would have to make to get your pump houses
Oh,
up to
yeah.
Aberdeen standards, so.
Yeah.
That's totally understandable, yeah.
I think we came up with about a $5 million investment to start, to get it up to the point where we felt it
Don't have to
was,
worry about it.
not gonna fail.
Yeah, okay.
So, and it would be our benefit to find as much I.
Oh, yes,
If we went commercial, the more I we found and got eliminated, the more our bill would go down.
Yes.
100%,
And we could control that
yes.
to a degree, you know, I mean, it's what we do with our own system.
But it's hard.
Yeah,
It's
no,
hard to find.
I get that, but I mean, it's a incentive.
When I started
To a
at the
degree.
city, on my first day, the engineers took me around and they talked about I and how we're finding this I, we're smoke testing, it's gonna everything. Yeah, we've been at it for 28 years now, and we've found a lot, but there's still more pops up.
Cracks in the road, I mean.
I don't
Yeah.
think there's been smoke tests over here in years.
I don't.
Huh?
Probably 30 years.
Yeah, might have been shortly after I moved in. I know they did them for side sewers back in the
There's ways to hide
early
it too.
80s, late 70s, early 80s.
So yeah, it would be good, I think initially it'd be good to see, what the contracts would look like, and that would really help a lot significantly for the rest of the council to look at. And that way it's visually, and we have it, and, then we know what it is we're looking at. I mean, as far as a loan, we kind of already know what that is, and, we just decide if that's what we have to do moving forward, yeah.
and I think, the council will make that decision. but,
Right.
The mayor, I would agree. I think working with you moving forward, we will get that taken care of. Having that contract, taking it to our negotiation team, and then working with our tech team, really looking at the I, and it's gonna take time, but that's gonna be a goal that we are going to work on. And as I said, it's gonna probably be, I'm gonna be long gone, and hopefully the next administration and council members will continue to understand the importance of moving forward and really taking care of this system better.
And as far as the loan, that's on us to take care of, and then let you, to be in communication with you about how it is that's being handled, is that how
It's
that?
more of a
or-
repayment plan.
Right.
And,
I meant-
just
that's
so
what I
that.
meant, yeah, that's what I
see
meant. I
there's
meant
people
loan,
online,
not
I don't
loan,
want them
sorry.
thinking everything's.
Wrong word, yeah. The repayment, yeah.
Yeah, so,
That's
I'll have my
something-
finance director get ahold of
Right.
you and kind of like break down how that can
Yeah.
look on, and
Yeah, that'd be
contact
another thing
Kara.
that would be good to look at, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
and then
Yeah.
we'll let the finance folks kind of work out what the terms
Right.
could look like.
Yeah, that would be good, because then as much information as we can possibly get
Right.
is. would be
And
great.
yes, for the people online, it's a repayment.
Oh, yeah,
You
I'm
haven't,
sorry.
we took care of some late payments from 2022, paid in 2024 for 2023, and here we are now. You know, and quite frankly, the city doesn't have that kind of money right now, but a repayment plan and a loan, I think we can work together to get this addressed. And it will need to go to the negotiation team and back to council.
Right, so, but that also raises the question of 2025 and bringing
Right,
it current.
that was my
so-
other question, yeah, if we could, with the information that you provide us, to add 2025 into another, format, so we can see what 2025 looks like. And that would be throughout the year of 25, so we know, because you pretty much know what the number roughly is gonna be. So if we could see what that is gonna look like as well, yeah, it would be great. And I also wanted to say, appreciate you guys.
We could easily do a,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I'm not gonna say anything until I talk to my fearless leader. So I don't wanna overpromise and underdeliver.
no, you have, when I say you've been a great partner,
Yeah,
when we needed a vac truck, you were here. When we needed help, you were here. And I know moving forward, we will be billed, and we should be. But you have been here and you have helped, because before me, you were here for helping this community when they needed it. You provided that vac truck and other equipment when they needed it. I went back. You took care of the community because we're partners. And it's been a good working relationship, and we will continue that, but we need to take care of what we owe you and do our part.
And the reality is our cities are intertwined and have been for over 100 years. Everyone in your city is related to everyone in our city and vice versa. So I just hope that, the county really pushes this idea of one Grace Harbor. And I think that Cosmopolis and Aberdeen are a very good example of that. And so we're always happy to help. We consider you guys a sister city, so.
Right, and that's how I always refer to you as sister city. I know you don't want Cosmopolis, you've told me that a million times. And we want to keep our identity, but we want to be a good sister city.
but we also realize the reality is that we are a tiny town.
Right.
And we don't have a big income, so we know that that comes with challenges, and we do, are trying to, fix it. And so like I said, we do appreciate all the help you guys.
Commend everything you're doing, because our city's kind of in the same boat, having to make a lot of positive changes that will set our city up for a brighter future, so
Yeah,
we commend the work you're doing here.
yeah, and I don't know what the period of time frame would look of you being able to get the information to us, but it would.
Give me about a month and
Okay,
I'll start
yeah, that's what I kind of
working with
figured,
the
yeah,
team.
but it would be great, yeah, if we could get it, and that way, it just gives us a quicker timeline to try and get everything resolved as quickly as we possibly can, because all it does is just continue to, the amount goes up.
Right.
So, we do have a citizen in the audience. We were not going to open it. It was really a presentation for council members. But Mr. Davis did raise his hand. If you have a question or comment, we will take that at this time.
My question is, what's the current balance in our sewer fund?
Oh, yeah, you did, oh, the sewer fund,
It is,
oh, the fund.
I don't have that, a little over 300,000.
Yeah, I think the last time when Tara was here, I think it was somewhere like over.
Yeah, and we
It would
haven't
be the
taken out,
last
all the money has
minutes.
just gone in now.
When she was here,
So-
she presented all of that, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you take the flyer? I think we had didn't we have a
Yeah,
copy
I
of the
think it's a
budget?
little, and over 300,000.
Yeah, that's what I recall.
Currently, in Cosmopolis right now, in our sewer fund, we have approximately $300,000.
A little over that.
Yes.
And so we owe 600, we're gonna owe 600 again, 640, so we owe $1,300,000.
So again, we'll sit down with the team, we'll look at all this, we'll sit down with our CPA, we'll look at those numbers, we will come up with some solutions here. It's, it's a difficult situation, there's no easy answers
It's
here.
not that question is, so you have to wonder, we have $300,000 in our sewer treatment, in our sewer fund right now, but we've been collecting the balances all the way along, so.
there's going to have to be, the bottom line is, there hasn't been a sewer increase, and there will be an increase moving forward. That's a reality.
You almost need to enact an emergency sewer increase quickly to be able to get current.
Well, and that's when we're talking to our experts, they're going to be helping and advising us. And, you know, I've said for over a year, rates are going to go up. Rates are going to go up. And that will help. As I said, we've got a road ahead of us. Okay? Thank you. Okay, anything else?
Well, I'd just like to say thanks for the help you guys have given us, especially when it comes to the police department. That's my area of expertise, is more the public safety area, more than this. And I really appreciate what you guys have stepped up and done in that regard, and this is, I believe we do need to pay our fair share. And we need to get things squared away, and we need to get them squared away as soon as we can.
Well, thank you for coming over this evening and providing information, and
Yeah, it was helpful. It was, I know you were here last year, but it's kinda, yeah, it's helpful to hear a little more about it, yeah, so.
you know, and
I
I,
didn't see the actual previous contract, I'm not sure I'd actually seen it before either, so.
right, and I went back and I looked at, I know we've had numerous conversations and meetings and that, I think, I went back and looked at kind of how many times we've met and working with this tech team now, and it's been a busy year trying to move to this point, and I think we're closer now, and I hope get this resolved.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you both, yeah. That it?
That's it.
Alright.
So meeting is adjourned. Workshop is adjourned.